only have Harvard on there because I removed all the other colleges
But
after I got in because I was
wait, but let me like make it like
Okay.
for simple people such as ourselves. Okay, ready? This is called the Common Application. The Common App is the most popular way to apply to colleges. Okay. On the Common App, you can list all your colleges. Let's say you want to like look up a college. You go to the college.
Go college search.
You go to college. Thank you. You go to college search. I don't know. You could do like Princeton. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now Harvard's going to be upset. They're going to see this. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. They're not going to see it. So you type Princeton.
It comes up.
It comes up. Thank you.
And then you add the plus.
You
press on the
plus it.
And then it just automatically gets added to
So
your list of
you can do like
colleges.
10, 20 colleges.
Right.
Okay.
Why the Harvard can see your other list? They
I'm
can
sorry,
see
what
your
was
list?
that?
You just said that like can Harvard see your list?
They
Oh no,
actually,
they
it was a
that
joke.
they cannot
They
see
actually
anything.
cannot.
They can only see anything that I submit to them.
Yes.
So they cannot
So
see.
this is very important. So a lot of kids see this for the first time in 12th grade. I think it's 4 years too late, but this
4
is
years too
apparently
late.
very popular. So now so you can add schools, 10 schools, 12. We highly at Queller Prep, and by the way, we do help with the college essay supplements. We do offer that service. At Queller Prep, we always recommend kids apply no more than between 8 to 10 schools. So
Right.
2 reach schools above an SAT score, 2 safety schools, and maybe 4 that are within your range. We usually go off the U.S. News and World Report rankings. That'll give you a pretty good picture with the schools and just an idea of where you stand in terms
Also,
of
the way to
prior
determine
class.
that is if your acceptance rate is under 20%, that's a safety school. Because you could put it in on like this website, and you give in your SAT score and your GPA, and they'll tell you.
Many schools use Naviance. It'll actually give a really cool scatter plot. You'll see like who's getting in from your school. But again, you're the only one who got in from Harvard, so, from Richmond Hill. So, but it helps. But I think the U.S. News gives you a pretty clear picture around the middle of the
Alright,
book.
so there's the Common App right there, where if you click, it takes you to your Common App profile, and then you can fill in everything.
So I want to quickly go through this. They want your
I will.
first name, your last name.
And then your colleges are here, where you will add extra college information.
By the way, this was not rehearsed. We're totally like just kind of doing this. Okay.
Okay.
Let's keep going. Okay.
Clearly, because we took a long time finding this. Okay, so I'm gonna go to the Common App. Actually, I'm gonna go to my colleges, because it shows you everything.
Mhm.
When I go to questions, now it says review responses. So I'm just gonna review response, and it's gonna take me to a PDF where it shows my entire application. That way it's just gonna be easier for all of you to see. Alright, so
And then can you just quickly remind them, how did you apply to Harvard? What was the category of the application? It was a restrictive
Early
early
action.
action. So can you just explain to them what that
I
definition
did.
is?
We already went through
Okay,
that.
so you guys are clear on what restrictive early action is, right? Or should you repeat it? Anyone? Repeat? 1, 2, 3? We're good? Okay.
Alright, so that's just personal information. Right here, as you can see, demographics. At first it was Asia, and then it was South Asia, and then it was Bangladesh. I did write that. Okay, quickly, because I
Okay.
want to have
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay. It's okay, it's okay.
Okay,
So let's see what's up here.
Okay,
Alright,
ready?
nothing there. Alright, so that's just my parents' information. They did want to know whether my parents went to college, what college they went to. So I, just added all that information, and my parents happened to be very, very smart, so I was like, okay, Alright, and then sibling information, just typical family information that they want. Then it comes to education, where I write about what school I go to. And then they want my counselor information. So my counselor was really my college advisor. She was the one who submitted like my transcript, my official transcript, my official SAT score. She submitted all of that there. As you can see under colleges and universities, so our school offers taking dual enrollment courses with colleges, where you get 1 college credit and then 1 high school credit and then 3 college credits. So I took a couple of those classes as well. Just
College
so
now, right? Was
College
that the
now,
category?
yes, there's
These are
college
free
now classes.
college classes when you're a high
Pretty
school.
much.
The colleges don't just want to see that you're a high school student, they want to see that you're a college student as well.
Right. So the one with York College was the College Now, and the one with SUNY Farmingdale was basically just regular class, but it was like an honors class, but it was enrolled with the college as well.
You're ranked number 1, so you're valedictorian.
Yeah, so I'm valedictorian, so we had to write that on our
How
application as well.
do you know that you're valedictorian?
They have it on the official.
So colleges look at grades 9, 10, 11. By 12th grade, you already get your rank. So
Yeah, so it's
there's
by
not
12th grade. So it's
too much magic
so
you can do.
the ranking is actually done right after junior year ends, which is why
Some high schools don't rank.
yes, some high schools don't rank. That is actually true. So they do have an option to say that my high school does not rank. So you can always pick that, and then you have to write about your current or most recent courses, which was just me listing out some of the courses that I had.
How many
Was it-
APs?
Was it a strategic decision to choose the high school that you went to?
No, because I didn't have a choice. Because when I came in, I was already second semester of 9th grade, which is where I was supposed to be.
Yeah.
Actually, in fact, I'm a year older than everyone in my grade. Because 2020 graduates are supposed to be born in 2002. I was born in 2001.
So my question is, so you obviously did you know
That Richmond.
how your school was ranked?
No.
You didn't.
I had no idea.
Oh,
I
okay.
just went in because it was my zone school.
Okay.
My school is a 12-minute walk from my home.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, like, because
But
we
the
didn't know
benefit
anything.
to going to a local school, if you go to Hunter, Elite Hunter,
Yeah.
you can only apply to 7 private colleges, and you're extremely limited. And the counselor will actually say no, very likely, if there are too many kids applying to Cornell, or too many kids applying to Yale, or too many kids applying to Harvard. So the counselor will actually chime in and refuse an application. So there is a benefit to going to the local
Right.
school.
However, staying in Richmond Hill was a strategic decision on my part. Because my parents, they wanted me to go to a specialized high school.
Of course.
Because everyone does, and everyone around us was telling us, oh, like Richmond Hill is such a bad school. Like every family friend that we could think of.
Yeah.
Richmond Hill is such a bad school, like go to a specialized high school, because they were all going to specialized high school, Brooklyn Tech, Bronx Science, all of that. And so I actually considered it. I was like, okay, fine, I'm gonna take the SHSAT, like the second part, which is you take in 9th grade. So for people who are new to New York City, they can take it later to go into 10th grade specialized high school. But then I was like, by the time the time came to take the actual test, I was like, oh my God, the attention that I received from this school, the amount of support, being captain, and I was deemed valedictorian end of 9th grade. So I was a 9th grade valedictorian. So I was like, I'm not gonna get that in a specialized high school.
Exactly.
And
yeah.
what the other thing in Richmond Hill High School, you could easily get into AP classes. Am I correct?
We don't have a lot of APs, so
How many APs did you do total?
Like 5.
5 total. Yeah.
But if you go to a school such as Stuyvesant and Andres, if you are able to chime in, if you go to a school like Stuyvesant, they will limit how those schools will kind of. You need signatures, you need approval, you need pathways. I've heard stories of kids who needed it was crazy. I've heard up to 10 signatures to get into a competitive AP class. So you kind of had to walk in. I'm assuming
Yeah.
you did not have any of those.
Honestly, I was put into AP classes before I knew I was getting
Yeah,
put
and then
into
do you
them.
mind quickly, I'm not sure with the towns in Harrisburg,
um,
I just wanna talk about how certain schools, it's very hard to get into APs.
Actually, alright, so for Townsend Harris, there was no signature process required for the APs. It was kind of, the space was limited just because each grade's about 270, 300 students, so it's mainly placed on space and how they do the rest of your schedule.
So they'll
And-
only allow 30 seats for an AP, right?
34 I think that's the max they're
Yeah,
allowed to
that's-
take
that's
per
for
class.
every class, yeah.
And they can only run so many classes. Usually kids will get shut out of 1 or 2 APs they're not able to get because their schedule or other things.
Alright, so these are the honors that I wrote about before as well, which you can write on the Common App. And you can pick what the category this honor falls into. So the scholarship was a national scholarship. Yeah, of course, yes. It was a national scholarship because it was out of New York City, so it wasn't from the school. And then the next one is from school. The Posse finalist was a national, the AP Scholar was a national, but then the Excellence in Mathematics was a school.
But you have 3 national in your extracurriculars.
Right,
so that's
right.
Big. That's
So that
big.
was big. That was big for them. Also, a lot of these honors were like repeated through.
I'm assuming that you were Arista also, but I don't see that.
National Honor Society.
National Honor you didn't put in.
No.
See, National Honor everyone does, so that's why like I sometimes tell the kids you don't need it because everyone
Right,
finds
'cause
it.
that's the. We have like 30 kids in Arista. How does like that doesn't help me stand out? So I wanted to only put things that help me stand because I was only allowed to put 5 honors, and I had to really like pick and choose which 5 honors that I was going to put into that.
So did you apply in 11th grade to where you got this scholarship, right? The national is 11th?
No, I never applied.
Oh.
These are old. So I think our counselor sends out our information to this college, and they like choose some of the students. So
if you would have decided to go.
if I would have decided to go to Rensselaer, then I would have gotten
So
this
that would
$100,000
have been
scholarship.
11th grade, right? Like MIT allows you to.
Yes, yes.
And then they ask you about the community-based organization.
So if I received help from any community-based organization, so South Asian Youth Action, SAYA, we have like a bunch of people from there who are in our school, which again comes down to the support that our school has. They provide free workshops, free SAT tutoring. They provide so much in the school. It is insane. Out of the 6 college advisors, 4 of them were from SAYA in my school, which was amazing. Alright, let's not go there. So those are just my SAT scores.
Notice they ask you, can I stay on this for a little bit or not?
Yeah.
Okay, listen, I just want you to see this, ready? Evidence-based reading, writing, so 680, math 730. How many times did you take the exam? You took it one time?
No, but since I'm only putting 1 score, that's why you have to put 1.
Oh,
if
so
you
you're
put
only
2,
submitting,
you would have to put 2 scores.
so you're only submitting 1 score, okay? So it's 1 time. Are you planning it? If you put that you're planning it, they're not gonna look at the application. So, and then the SAT essay was a no, right?
Yeah, I didn't take the essay.
Math level 1, you got a 700. The highest is
800.
800. Physics 630. You should always take at least 2 subject tests. That's
Right.
colleges want to see that you're trying. Subject tests are 1 hour long exams. Master
Oh,
your subject. You
yeah.
can take up to 3 in 1 day.
Those are my AP test scores, and then the 2 that I have not taken yet. So you just have to write down.
So this
the
is
dates
also
for those.
good. So you're currently taking Calc BC, which is the hardest possible
Which,
math.
let me, again, comes down to my school, which is, she's right, it is the hardest possible math offered in high school. I'm the only student in that class
What? Huh?
because they made my math teacher teach that class. They brought this curriculum to the school to teach me because I took Calc AB junior year.
And she got a 5.
I got it.
But the only way for you to take Calc AB, okay, go in reverse. What did you take the year before in math?
I just took trig. You're supposed to technically take pre-calculus after, but they were like, okay, you don't need that, just skip pre-calculus.
So she skipped, pay attention, she skipped pre-calculus, went straight into calc, and she got a 5 in the AP. Because before you start spending that year in pre-calc, okay?
Yeah.
Did the school know that you were the only student taking a class like this?
Oh yeah.
They
They
did?
Yeah.
created that.
No, I'm
class for
saying,
Harvard.
did Harvard need to know that?
Oh yeah.
How
I
did you
mentioned
know
that. I
that?
mentioned that to my
Interview.
my
How
interview,
many
but
kids
my
at
I made my
Townsend?
math teacher write a recommendation.
So what?
Calc
And my
BC.
math teacher
There
mentioned
was one
that
full class,
that I was the
30.
only student in his class over there.
And then Townsend have
When
30.
are
Not
situations
Townsend.
like this ever gonna
Yeah,
happen?
1
No.
BC.
In real
I
life.
was just gonna say, my son, he's in
Bronx
Bronx
Science.
Science.
Mm-hmm.
He got 93 in honors, what was there before pre-calculus, I think trigonometry.
Uh huh.
And you needed a 95 to get into calculus BC, so skip AB. And they didn't approve.
So you need
Wait, you
95
cannot
on the
skip
regions
AB.
to get
Oh,
to
yes,
the
you
higher
can
level
skip-
math
you
at the
can-
specialized
But
high
BC
school.
is basically AB and then more.
Yes.
So you needed
yes,
the
so,
AB.
So everybody skips in Bronx Science, but
Okay.
basically
That's
for
cool.
2 points, he couldn't qualify.
Wow.
Talking about what Francis was
Stuyvesant has
mentioning.
the same thing. I want to say you need a 95 in biology to get into AP Bio. This is
Yeah,
this is a
95,
memory.
It makes sense,
you
it
need
makes sense.
95, and it's hard to get in such a school.
So this is how the extracurricular portion looked. So you would have to pick a broad category. So the broad category, athletics, JV varsity. There was also an option of clicking athletics club, which I wasn't doing any athletic clubs. So, and then I put, the little information, captain all 4 years, both MVP and
I like it.
high scorer, responsible for recruitment, setting up for practice, and facilitating drills. So like a lot of leadership being shown there, and I was really just trying to portray all of that. Student government, so senior class secretary, organize senior events, senior trip, prom, like very precise and just like say what you're doing.
Present tense also, this was a present tense.
Right,
Organize
right.
senior events, collect senior
I
dues,
actually made sure that I
facilitate senior
did that. When I
workshops.
was talking about present things, I wrote in present tense. When I was talking about junior vice president, being junior vice president last year, I wrote organized all these, like did all of that. So that's also, the family responsibilities, I tried to make my application very humorous. Like I tried to incorporate humor into my essay, into the entire application, and even during my interview.
About this, I'm sorry, about the family's
Yes.
responsibility. How did you justify that such incredibly educated parents like you had, like not many of us have, they couldn't do the stuff that you did and you paid the monthly bills, or how did you justify
I think it was just the fact that they never asked me that, but if they did, it would just be that they wanted me to do these things. It's not that they couldn't do it, they wanted me to do it because they wanted me to be responsible, right? My dad always says that, whenever we play a movie, he wants me to like put the movie on, and he's like, and whenever like I would take my time, he would be like, listen, it's not that we can't do it, I want you to do it, because there are some responsibilities that you need to have.
So I
in the
want to get
house.
back to this humor part because this is very clever. Everyone, an issue go to Abiba. Like, where did you think of having this?
I don't know, because that's
funny-
literally what goes on in the house, and I say that in the house all the time.
And then
and
the
it
family
literally-
responsibilities section, you put that like you're really taking control.
Yeah, and I literally put 14 hours per week, 52
Color
weeks per year.
preferences,
That is
another
literally
application.
all the time. So I'm awake 14 hours, like I'm doing like 2 hours a week, every day, every week, and it's like every week per year.
This is very, very clever.
By the way,
I
what
really
do you
like
Yeah,
tutor
it's
your
very
mom
clever.
for?
This
You
is
said you
very
tutor
clever.
your mom. You tutor your sister and mom.
Yeah.
Why did you tutor your mother for?
I try to help them with
I
stuff.
tutored my mother. It was very traumatic. Alright. I did. It didn't look that great. Okay, ready?
Alright,
Okay,
so and then I
Abiba
wrote about
helped me
color.
in color. So we have that. Put everything in. Right. Up. Wait. What did I do? Hold on. No. Did I just go all the way down?
Yeah,
My mistake.
okay.
Hold on.
Alright, a little up. Alright, so journalism and publication. So I am the editor-in-chief of the school newsletter, which the school newsletter is like controlled by the coordinator of student association who also wrote my recommendation letter, and she expanded more on that, and she was like, once she's done with the newsletter or when she's done with like a little part, I never have to like check it twice because I know she did like a great job, and like those are some things.
One thing I'm noticing well in your application is that you are the big fish. You're the editor, you're the leader, you're the,
Right,
I
right.
just wanna remind all of you that should Specialized not pan out, or should, Beacon or Townsend Harris, should that not happen, this is an example of someone who is the big fish, she's the shark.
Right.
She's the one in the room who's scooping it all up. So this is they created a class around her. So just
Yeah.
remember, there's no way this opportunity would have happened. Andres, you can always support what I'm saying or disagree.
Yeah.
Is there even a chance that they would create a class at Townsend Harris? Bronx Science? Would they create a class? They wouldn't even give you
Yeah.
something the size of a
That's why I
bathroom.
say, like, Richmond Hill, contrary to what everyone says, I would never have made it to Harvard if not for Richmond Hill.
I think you still would have. I think you still would have.
Well, thank you. And then I just wrote about some other things that I was doing. Like, as I mentioned, with junior class vice president, helped plan fundraisers like Pennies for Patients, worked closely. So it was like, things that I did before, I made sure that I was not, you know.
Was there?
Okay, the personal statement.
I was gonna say.
The
was there
personal
specific
statement you
verbiage
said-
that you knew
Yes.
you had to use
Yes.
in your application,
And I-
so that it stood out and showed you in
Yes.
a leadership role. Okay.
Personal statement is 650 words, no more. You have one main personal statement, and it goes to every college, and then there's supplemental essays. But this,
Maybe you could print this out and give it to me.
That'd be
I'm gonna pass around, you know what, I'll switch with you. I'll pass around the email, so we'll have this information.
Okay.
But, so just remember, it's one essay, 650 words max, and this essay could potentially go to every college, should you apply
Right.
to 10, 12 schools. And this is the main essay that every school in college is gonna see.
Do you want me to
So,
read this?
yeah, read it, cause I'll pass around, I'm gonna
Okay.
pass around the
I
Surface
took a
Pro for your
picture. You can
emails.
explain it over.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fine, okay? And I'm gonna pass it around anyway, cause I wanna just reformat the slides a little bit and I'll share it with the families.
Okay.
So that we have it, okay? Go ahead.
I want to note something.
Okay.
Contrary to what people believe that grades get you into an Ivy League school,
Right.
you are living proof that they don't entirely.
Right. My
I mean,
SAT
you
scores
are
were.
an amazing student, but you have amazing,
A well-rounded student. That's
yes,
what they're
and you
looking
have
for, like a
amazing
whole package.
achievements.
My teacher actually, she was like, "You're a package made for Harvard. We're mailing you to them."
Yes. You do have outstanding achievements when it comes to your APs, which are fantastic. The 5 in calculus, that's amazing.
But
So-
I think this actual school is a very different side.
So let's read,
Yes,
yeah,
actually.
let's read
Okay, so I'm
through
gonna
it.
I'm gonna read this
Okay.
out because
It was, she chose any topic of your choice. So
Right.
this is probably the most open-ended, the easiest one to do, okay?
yeah,
Go
because
ahead.
I hate being conformed into one topic and answering a question. If I want to tell someone about myself, I don't want to answer a question to tell them about myself. I just want to say what I want to say. So I chose topic of my choice for both the supplemental essay and this one. And I titled it The Paradox of My Life. So I'm just gonna read it, I guess. Terrified for my life, I grasped my mother's neck and began howling. I was 3 years old and it was my first time on a plane. A flight from Dhaka City, Bangladesh to Beijing, China. My mother's eyes widened in panic as my crying drew more and more unwanted attention of over 200 infuriated passengers. I was every traveler's worst nightmare. But I was not the least bit worried about that. As I held on to my mother for dear life, there were only 2 things that I was thinking. Get me out of here and I am going to die. But the door to the plane closed and my father whisked me away and buckled me into my assigned seat. To everyone's exasperation, I cried the entire flight, all 8 hours. From that day forward, flight became my greatest fear. The idea of being in a giant metal bird that was going to take me thousands of feet up in the air frightened me to my bones. And it still does. To me, they have never been friendly skies. However, that first trip to China was not the end of my story. I continued to travel. From Cairo, Egypt to Copenhagen, Denmark, in the past 18 years of my life, I have visited over 30 different cities in 20 different countries. My desire to see the world outweighs my fear of flight, because to me, fear is not a hurdle in this famous obstacle course called life. That first flight to Beijing has symbolic parallels to every major endeavor I've undertaken. Whether it was learning to play the guitar, my first attempt at differentiation in calculus, or that first soccer game I played when I was 7. I have pushed through every hesitation, doubt, and fear through sheer dedication. I became my school's senior class secretary and the captain of my varsity soccer team, while concurrently being an individual who gets anxious having to speak in public and fears any type of contact sport. From being someone who panicked at the sight of DYDX and became frustrated trying to hold a basic 3-finger chord on a guitar, I went on to achieving the highest score on the AP Calculus exam and learning to not only play the guitar, but also sing in multiple languages while doing so. In time, I learned that in order to get where I want to go, I must surrender control. I must try even when I want to give up. Most things worth doing or knowing do not come easily. If I had chosen to let oblivion continue, with no curiosity to explore it, or letting my fear overcome me, I never would have become the person that I am today. To this day, it is still not easy for me to fly, but I board that plane anyway, and I launched myself into the unknown inside of a giant metal bird. The lesson of my life is not that I must live without fear, but that I should accept my fears and step forward anyway. My fears do not define me. I am defined by how I choose to face them. My intense desire to never give up, the insatiable hunger to explore, learn, or try new things, even when those things terrify me, that is what defines me. The sheer fact that I have spent most of my life traveling around the world while simultaneously being afraid of flying is the greatest, most amazing paradox of my human experience.
Thank you so much. Do you mind sharing, paragraph by paragraph, what made
Right.
you choose certain content?
So the opening paragraph, I wanted it to be interesting. I wanted them to know who I was as a person. I wanted to employ that humor into it. I wanted to have my voice into it, that I am not just, that typical student that just studies and like does all these things for the sake of doing it. No, I'm, I travel. I can talk, I can tell a story and make it interesting, and I wanted to show that through my first paragraph. Which is why I was like terrified for my life. I grasped my mother's neck and began howling. Like that hook that people always talk about, it makes it interesting. You want to know more about it. Okay, what is this girl talking about? What the hell is going on? And those caps locks, like, get me out of here and I'm going to die. It's just, it makes it funny. It makes it interesting to continue reading. That second paragraph kind of like explains how I'm going to turn that story into what my essay is going to be about. The transition into what my essay is gonna, say. That, I'm a person who does get afraid, but I continue doing things. So that's what the second paragraph was kind of, yes. And that I don't let fear of flight be an issue in my life because I continue to travel. And then that third paragraph was me relating that story and that concept to every other part of my life. Because it is true. When I started playing the guitar, I stopped playing it for like 2 months because I was like, I cannot do this. But now I play, if we can, I'll try to show you like that little the 7-language clip that I sent to Harvard.
Mm-hmm.
So I wrote about that, I expanded on that, and then those last 2 paragraphs just like brings it down to how I don't let, kind of like a reiteration that I don't let fear be, an issue in my life, and then and then the last paragraph just shows like my values, that I don't let my fear define me. I'm defined by how I choose to face them, and it shows a lot of maturity in the writing and like a sophisticated writing, and it shows my voice that this is how it, like when you read this, if you were reading it yourself, a lot of people who I sent this essay to just see and get their opinion, they knew what I sounded like even though they've never heard me speak before. And that is what is important to like express through your essay, that voice. Right. Alright, so after that comes the actual Harvard application. So, I pick my term, I pick restrictive early action, I want to live on campus, I'm going to apply financial aid, and then do I intend to submit supplementary materials to be considered as part of the application process. So that included my academic paper, my poem, and my video. So, academics. What academic program interests you? Social sciences. And these are some questions that, they just want to like know about the student. So on a scale of 1 to 5, how definite do you consider your academic plans to be? How definite do you consider your vocational plans to be? Which is like, what do you want to do career-wise? How definite are your athletic interests? So I was like, I want to play soccer. Like, I knew that. So I was like, okay, that's a 1. Are you applying for a dual degree program with New England Conservatory, Berklee College of Music? I said no. Online coursework, I also
That's in
said.
another country, isn't it?
What?
Or in another
No, these are 2 other colleges, the Berklee College of Music and the New England Conservatory. These are 2 separate programs.
Where? In Harvard?
Around there, in Boston, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And so then it comes down to activities that I said that I will do when I go to Harvard. So I put student government, soccer, intercollegiate, which is varsity, dramatics, which is theater, community service, swimming and diving because I do swim, but that is intramural club sport. And then comes the extracurricular essay, which I will also read out. I've been a part of student government since the first time I was allowed to, 5th grade. From 5th grade to the first semester of 9th grade, I was in my school student government in Bangladesh. When I moved to the US for the second semester of 9th grade, I was almost immediately recruited for school leadership. Being a leader in